Hey guys, welcome to this event. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We're so excited to have this amazing lady on the line with us. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want her to kind of paint the picture of who she is and how she came to be with this company and her role, and just how amazing these products are. But what I can tell you is when I got to spend time with her in Canada, she is not what I expected, because when I see someone with lots of letters behind their name, I'm expecting this kind of geeky person, but she is dead set badass, and we got to hang out, and that's a huge compliment. So I'm in awe. I learned so much about what I love is that not just amazing health credentials and helping lots of people, but has built a really substantial Juice Plus business as well. So I'm going to hand over to you, Alisa, put you in the spotlight, and let's do this, girl.
Awesome. Well, thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it. So for those of you who I haven't met before, my name is Alisa Herriman, and I've been with the Juice Plus company for 6.5 years. Prior to being in Juice Plus, I actually have a bit of a career journey. I started in our healthcare system here in Canada, and I felt so frustrated by the amount of conditions that I was working with that were preventable, that I switched out of the healthcare industry and into the natural health field, which led me to being a nutritionist. And in that practice, I actually became a specialist in nutritional therapy for people during the cancer process. So that's kind of my area of expertise and my background before Juice Plus. I had a very busy business, a very successful practice. I taught at 4 different colleges. And I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to be able to wrap my career around my family. And I had gotten to the point in my practice that I had no more billable hours. I was completely exhausted. I was miserable. I was doing what I loved, but I had lost the time freedom and the ability to wrap my career around my family. And then I was introduced to Juice Plus, and I sat down with the national marketing director, and his name is Vonko, and he's a really cool guy. And he, shared it with me, and I was super interested in the products, but I was a little uncomfortable, I guess it was ego with the business model. So I had politely declined coming into the company until a year later. I had decided to order a tower garden. And at that time, I have 4 children, and my baby number 4 was really sick. And I was looking for a nutritional solution for him. And because I had already looked at Juice Plus and all of the ingredients and all the things that really stood out around these products, I decided to use them with my son, who was very young, and purchase a tower garden. And it only made sense that I would pay the $50 and become a representative so that I could have a discount. And that kind of is how I got into the business. I was with the company for about 6 months, had a really good family experience. I started using it in my cancer practice. We were having really great results there. But it took me 6 months to really decide to add this in as another business. 1, because time was just so limited. And 2, I wasn't sure that I wanted more responsibility. But I started to look at Juice Plus as an opportunity to reduce some of the work I was doing in my other company. I would be able to let go of a few of my courses, spend more time at home. So that's why I decided to build the Juice Plus business. And with 12 months later, I was a national marketing director. So I was able to build up a fairly big business, and we've continued going strong here in Canada ever since. So that is my story. Anthony, do you want me to go in and talk about the products at all, or do you have specific questions?
I think a couple of things. So when you said you looked at the product and the things that stood out, what stood out to you? What are the kind of slips and checks you did, the things you wanted to see about the product to give it your name and your approval?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that's such a big question because the supplement industry is just so saturated. There are so many products that consumers have to navigate. I ran health food stores. I've seen brands that we considered to be reputable get pulled off the shelf for contamination. There's companies switch hands all the time. So it's a really tough industry for people to navigate. And my standards are really, really high because I think it's just good protection for clients. So there was a few things that really stood out about Juice Plus. The first is that it was food. It was concentrated fruits and vegetables. I knew that everyone's bodies would recognize it. They were going to be able to utilize it, and it was going to be safe. There wasn't going to be any contraindications with medication. So right there off the hop was super interesting to me. I get asked a lot of times as a nutritionist why I don't recommend synthetic vitamins. I had taken them out of my practice about 5 years prior to joining Juice Plus. And the reason is because when it comes to isolated and synthetic vitamins, our body doesn't recognize them well. We don't absorb them well. They can compete for absorption with each other, which can cause imbalances. So when I really looked at the research around isolated and synthetic vitamins, I knew that we needed to focus on getting our nutrition from food. So I was already teaching in my practice whole food diets, juicing, food-based cleanses, that sort of thing, because I know these synthetic vitamins are so poorly recognized and absorbed, and I know they can cause deficiencies and imbalances in other nutrients. We don't have that problem in whole food. So right there, that was an eye-opener and the reason why I looked into it. The second thing that really stood out with the Juice Plus products was the NSF certification. Being a product that had third-party validation that it was going to be clean was a big deal, because when I was at the health food store running it, we were getting reputable products pulled off the shelf because they were getting randomly tested, and they would have heavy metals, antibiotics, all kinds of scary stuff, or what was on the label wasn't actually in the product. And we have really strict regulations here in Canada. Our Health Canada guidelines for an approved supplement is very, very difficult. I've been told it's like one of 2 in the world that are the toughest, and Juice Plus was Health Canada approved, which meant that our Canadian government, our labs were testing the products and making sure that what was on the label was in the product and what was in the product was on the label. So those 3 things really stood out for me. The clinical research was just kind of the icing on the cake. You know, we don't see good research on products. What a lot of companies do is they do research on ingredients in their products. So they'll say, well, we have green tea in our products. Here's some research on green tea. And that's kind of the industry norm in the health supplement field. And I don't agree with it. So when I saw that Juice Plus had double-blind placebo-controlled research on their products, so we had gold standard research. And not only did they have gold standard research, but it was published in very legitimate and respectable clinical journals. To me, it was just absolutely irrefutable. You can't argue solid science, and Juice Plus had proven not only that they were clean and natural, but that it was clinically proven to work.
Amazing. People who are in the know, they'll go, that's amazing that there's research, but Juice Plus paid for it. So maybe you can enlighten them that process and how funding works and the reality of it.
So being from the science field, I am not aware of a single study that's not paid for by someone. So everything has to be funded. There's cost to doing research. So there is no free. Not all of the Juice Plus research is paid for by Juice Plus, but all research is paid for. And a lot of it is. The thing that's important to recognize with research, especially when you're into this double-blind placebo-controlled, and when you're working with reputable institutions, they're not going to put their name and reputation on the line for some third-party company. And 2, you pay for the research, you don't pay for the results. And in addition to that, when research is done, it goes in front of a clinical review board. If the clinical review board doesn't believe that the science is true, it won't get published in clinical journals. The clinical journals want to protect their reputation as well. So the fact that Juice Plus is in 37 clinical journals means it doesn't matter who paid for the research. It's been proven that that research is accurate and it adds value to the clinical society.
Amazing. And so go back to, you said you started introducing this with your cancer patients. You have a title which is fairly unique, yeah, as a cancer nutritionist?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just going to look on that. Yep.
So tell us about that. And I know that some people, they'll start, they have someone who's not well, they want to introduce the product to them, and one of the health professionals that dismisses it in some way. Maybe you have some advice of how people can introduce it so that that health professional is more aware of the reputation and how it can be a benefit.
So so is it like, how would you share it with another health professional, or specifically in the cancer field?
Across the board, and just,
Okay.
what your experience has been with that.
I think because it's such a saturated market, a lot of us practitioners, I know I had every company, and I still get every company and product put in front of me. So we're very overwhelmed as health practitioners, especially if we're reputable, with people who want us to endorse their products. When it comes down to really sharing it, the first thing I share with a health practitioner is the science. And, I might share a little bit of my story, but the science is irrefutable. And if they're not willing to, I've had a couple come up and say, or like respond and say, oh, well, I'm not interested in, direct sales or network marketing, or your company pays for the research. My first question as a response back is, did you read it? Because if you read it, you are going to, there's no way you're going to come back to me with that type of a response. So when it comes to working with practitioners, really lead with the research. That science is such a valuable tool. We're the only company in the world that has this body of clinical evidence. And if you can get that practitioner to take a look at it, I'm yet to have a practitioner who actually dove into the clinical research, not come back, even if they don't join my team, but not come back and go, wow, that's pretty incredible.
And so, tell us about your experience with the product for our team and even the customers on the line. How do you get across? How do you educate people just on how amazing these products are?
For sure. So I'm a big believer that educated people make educated decisions. So to me, my approach has always been, let me help you understand the value of what you put into your body. Let me, give you some solid information. It might be me, it might be a third-party video, it might be an article, it could be hearing someone else's story, but let me just help you understand the value of this, or the value of good nutrition, and then share with you what I do. And that's always kind of been, I don't ever want to be someone who's at the front of the room and people feel sold to. I feel as a health educator, it's important that we not do that we not take that position. So it's really just giving people good knowledge, good tools. Like I have a prospecting group, and we get so many customers out of there because of other education that we've given them. If people are in a position to make an educated decision, they'll become a customer, they'll stay a customer for a long period of time. And then we constantly speak into their lives through health education. So almost every single week, there's something going on that they can plug into that will continue to grow them. And we just keep inviting our customers, and our customers invite their friends. And that's been really successful for us.
Amazing. Tell us a bit more about that. What kind of things can people tap into?
So every single week we have at least one health webinar, and we try to keep them respectful of time, 30, 40 minutes. And we're just reaching out to people that really have a strong belief. We don't put anybody in front of our people who doesn't already have a really strong belief in the Juice Plus products. So they have to be, usually a Juice Plus practitioner, and we'll try to find people local here in Canada. There's something. So this week we did weight loss, the week before we did shred, the week before we did mental health. And we're just looking at the role in terms of these different areas of health, which allows us to speak into a bunch of different niche markets.
Beautiful. And so the results that you've seen with the product.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What's
So nutrition, nothing influences how we feel and how our body functions more than what we put into our body. And nutrition, nothing functions well in your body. There's, your liver pathways, your heart, your skin health, your mental health, nothing functions without a nutrient being present. Your heart doesn't beat without nutrients. Your lungs don't breathe without nutrients. So when we can get good nutrition into someone's body, their body goes into heal and repair, and everybody's results are different. I try not to give too much of an expectation, but we do help people understand that, listen, when you put good nutrition in, you're going to be in a position to heal and repair. So usually the first thing our customers will notice is improved energy. And the moment your cells are making more energy, that's a good sign of health. Fatigue is actually the number one sign of deficiencies. So when you're talking, or if you're feeling exhausted all the time, that's actually the very first underlying sign of a deficiency is fatigue. And then once we have, more energy, better sleep quality, you'll start to deal with stress better. But we've had anything from cancer clients whose blood counts have been completely wiped out, that we've got on the Juice Plus, and gradually they're improving. And if you can get people's blood counts to improve during chemotherapy, that's incredible. But it's concentrated nutrition. Juice Plus is just bioavailable, easy to absorb nutrition in a way that the body recognizes and can make use of it. We've had girls that couldn't have babies. I have my cousins on my team, and she had 3 back-to-back miscarriages, and she's now on, pregnant with baby number 3, and healthy pregnancy since she's been on Juice Plus. We've had babies covered head to toe in eczema, 6 to 8 weeks. That's starting to clear up. Kids with asthma, constipation, it's just giving the body the environment and position to heal and repair itself. The Juice Plus doesn't treat anything. It puts the body in the position to be able to heal and repair itself. And that's what makes it so great.
Love it. And so the way that you educate your team, customers, do you have a specific strategy around that, or it's just you've always got things going on that they can plug into?
We just always have stuff. So we encourage team as much as customers to get on in addition to prospects. So we can have, like this week I had 4, just the way it worked out. I had 4 events, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And between those 4 events, we had 174 guests on, who all either were a first exposure or were on getting some sort of value. And the feedback is incredible. I have a list of people to follow up with, because you have to have something that adds value to people's lives. Everybody is selling something now, and we are just such a different company, and our product is so unique that we really want to show up unique. We want to show them the value and speak into their lives. So yeah, we have a lot of success by just keeping the ongoing education.
Love it. I'd love to hear how you explain to people the process of how Juice Plus is made. Because you can go real technical, but it needs to be...
I don't at all.
Maybe give us both versions, because I think there are times where we do need to go granular, because it is somewhat research-based or really scientific, and then all for the average consumer.
So I think probably the most important point for both ways is peak of ripeness. So most of the nutrients in fruits and vegetables don't show up till those final days of ripening. So the concern that we can have when fruits and vegetables are picked prematurely to be shipped is that they are artificially ripened, which means their nutrient content is lower. We also then have the problems with foods with pesticides, large amounts of pesticides. We want a clean product. We know our farmers are non-GMO farmers. They're not using heavy amounts of chemicals. We wouldn't have an NSF certified product if they were. So in that, there's probably better soil quality. So not only are we getting peak of ripeness, but we're getting better soil quality going into that. And, Juice Plus is peaked. It's juiced, mostly, basically made into a puree, the skin, the seeds, the entire fruit. A lot of the nutrition is found in the skin and the seeds. And it's getting pureed, and then you're cold dehydrating it to remove the water. You're still leaving the enzymes and the nutrients intact. And then what you're left with is concentrated fruits and vegetable powders. Now, most fruits and vegetables are over 90% water. So that capsule and those powders might seem small, but there is a ton of nutrition in that because it's concentrated nutrition. And that's pretty much how I always explain it.
Got it. Keep it simple.
You have to.
I like it. What about the omegas? or omegas.
Yeah.
Where are you
Oh,
from?
so good. How do you say it, amigas?
Omegas.
I love it. So every single cell of your body has a lipid bilayer. So you need healthy fats for every single cell of your body. Your brain is made of 60% fat. So all the fat in your diet determines the fat in your brain. That's why if you have a child with attention deficit disorder or hyperactivity and you take them to a nutritionist or a naturopath, the first thing we'll do as practitioners is put them on an essential fatty acid supplement, because we want to start to shift out the brains that are going into the body so that we can help the brain function better. This has a lot to do with how they receive messages and can make use of information. So with the omegas, I took fish oil out of my practice 10 years ago when we were using it during chemo, and we found that it was suppressing the immune system of people during chemo. It's interesting because we saw that happening clinically. So we removed it. And recently there was some research published that actually showed that fish oil suppresses immune system during chemotherapy. So we store, I'm going to talk about fish for a second. We store toxins in fatty tissue. Every creature, every plant, animal does. So why would we want to have concentrated fatty tissue from an animal that swims in oftentimes very dirty water, especially with the amount of plastics and chemicals that are in our water? So I took fish oil out 10 years ago. And I really taught my clients to focus, and my customers to focus on, tons of plant fats, coconut oil, eat lots of nuts and seeds, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, eat their seeds if you can, because these plant oils are also attached to tons of nutrients and high antioxidants. So when Juice Plus Omega came out for us, I was thrilled because you're looking at very, very nutrient dense, very high antioxidant plant oils. So those antioxidants and nutrients actually preserve the oils naturally, and you're getting all of the benefits of a variety of different essential fatty acids. We don't need a whole bunch of one. Mother Nature's perfectly packaged nutrition for us. So by blending these oils, we're getting the benefits of all of these different plants and all of the nutrients and antioxidants that go with them.
Amazing. Love it. And so tell us about the complete. I know sometimes people will look at the label and go, oh, wow, it's so high in sugar. Particularly if people have, a cancer going on. So how do you explain the whole sugar debate to people and why the ingredients that are in the complete have been chosen?
So, well, I wasn't part of formulation, but I definitely like the ingredients. So one, sugar is not bad for us if it comes from the right sources. So we need complex carbohydrates for healthy brain function. There's nothing I have become more outspoken on than low carb diets, and I've recently become a little outspoken on ketogenic diet. Now, I'm trained therapeutically in keto. I know how to use it with cancer. So I have a couple of videos on my Facebook that I can send you guys that kind of talk to those. We are in this weird low carb craze, and it's awful for our health. It's absolutely horrible for us. Our brain functions on blood sugar. We need it for healthy energy. We need carbohydrates to make serotonin, which is our happy, relaxed hormone. So, we really do need complex carbohydrates in our diet. So there's definitely a bit of a learning curve. What is important to recognize is what sugar does once it gets in to the bloodstream. Now, if it enters the bloodstream really quickly and you get a blood sugar spike, your body then produces a hormone called insulin, grabs onto this blood sugar spike, you store it in your body in the form of saturated fat. That's bad. We don't want that. But if the carbohydrate goes into our bloodstream and allows for steady blood sugar levels, this is what complex carbohydrates do. This is good. This is steady brain power. This is a reduction in cravings. This is appetite control. This is, so that your brain functions over the long term. Like, it's so important. So complex carbohydrates are absolutely necessary, and they help people lose weight because they're not dealing with these blood sugar spikes and lows. So Juice Plus Complete is certified low glycemic. Like it's blood sugar stabilization. It's healthy carbohydrates. And that's why people who use the product end up having, if they're looking for it, weight, improved body composition or weight loss, is because they're just more sustained. The other question I get a lot of is with the complete is, oh, it's only got 12 grams of protein. Is that, and it's too much protein is toxic. We, again, come from this kind of fad-based programs that focus on low carbohydrates, super high protein. Too much protein becomes incredibly toxic for your liver and your kidneys. 12 grams of protein is very, very healthy. Your body can make use of it. It's plant-burning protein, so it's clean burning. There's no byproducts left over. Whereas animal protein, like whey-based products, some of the byproduct after digestion is things like ammonia. And those products are difficult and damaging to our liver and our kidneys. So we want to avoid those altogether. We want to put clean burning protein in an amount that the body can make use of, and you're not going to have all this leftover that it has to kind of filter through. The other thing that sometimes comes up, and I don't know if you guys have the concerns there in Australia as we have here in Canada, but everyone has this huge misinformation around soy. Do you guys get any negative feedback around soy?
Absolutely. It was the first question I asked. So yeah, I'd love to hear your answer.
Okay, so I'll kind of tell you guys my background with soy. So when I graduated, to explain the story, when I graduated as a nutritionist, I was told all soy was bad. It was part of my education. And this is like 15 years ago, but that was what my program told me. And basically it was because almost all soy is genetically altered, and we know that GMO foods use large amounts of pesticides. And in addition to that, soy acts like hormones. And if my son drinks soy milk, he's going to grow boobs. That was kind of, honest to goodness, it was where we were at. And when I got into the cancer field, a lot of the courses I was taking and the people I was following and the books I was reading and these incredible scientific mentors, they were recommending soy for cancer patients. And I was like, what is going on? So I actually had to go back and do research on soy. So when I went and did the research, I couldn't actually find a single human clinical study that proved that consuming soy was bad for us, not one. There was lots of very respected individuals, and there was lots of theories, and there was lots of maybes, but there wasn't actually a human clinical study that I was able to find. I still haven't seen one that showed that consuming soy was bad for us. But what I did find was an enormous body of research that showed that consuming soy was actually very protective and had some strong anti-cancer properties. So here's the thing about soy that everybody needs to know. One, it has to be a non-GMO organic, okay? Otherwise, it's just processed food. So if it's a non-GMO organic soy, it is so beneficial because of two reasons. One, soy contains phytoestrogens. Now, phytoestrogens were once believed to act like estrogens, and estrogen can be dangerous in the cancer field because if estrogen levels are high, cells replicate really quickly. You can grow bad cells very fast. We don't want things that increase estrogen levels. So we thought soy increased estrogen levels, and it doesn't. Phytoestrogens do not act like hormones, and they are not strong enough to cause cells to replicate. Okay, so they are not a hormone. It is a plant compound that comes in, takes up room on estrogen receptor sites, and actually blocks the activity from these strong estrogens in our body. So it's actually cancer protective for that reason. The other thing that soy contains is isoflavones, and isoflavones are shown to induce apoptosis in cancer cells. So what does that mean? Cancer cells are dangerous because they don't have the mechanism for self-destruction. So normal healthy cells go through, their cell life, and at the end they go through apoptosis, and hopefully they no longer exist, right? That's what healthy cells are supposed to do. Cancer cells are dangerous because they don't have the mechanism to go through apoptosis, so they continue to grow and mutate until they become a tumor, which then becomes a problem. We now know, based on science, that isoflavones induce this apoptosis process in cancer cells. There's other foods that are cancer protective that have been used for, centuries in traditional medicine, and soy is one of them. So there's actually areas of the world that have very, very high soy consumption. It's a good quality, homegrown, organic soy, and their cancer rates are incredibly small because of how protective it is.
Amazing, love it. We've had a question here. I'm probably going to pronounce it incorrectly. Is it carrageenan or carrageenan?
You got it, carrageenan. I call it carrageenan, might be genin. So the carrageenan in the capsules. So you got to remember, we're NSF certified, guys, and we're a non-GMO product. So the concern with carrageenan, and I actually haven't seen any human clinical evidence that proves that this is true. I could have missed it, but at this point I haven't seen any, is that it's it can be highly processed, and there's some concern about it causing inflammation in the digestive tract. Now, because we are an NSF and a non-GMO company, and we use food grade carrageenan, there to me is absolutely no concerns. It's actually made from seaweed, red seaweed. And the reason it is in there is because it's actually what makes up our capsules, and it's going to help, I love that our products are encapsulated because that's what preserves our powders without having to add all kinds of preservatives. So if you have somebody who's really concerned about it, just get them to dump the capsules in a smoothie. But I have zero concerns at this point.
Love it.
Awesome.
I just love your wisdom. So anything else you can impart on us that can just help us with our belief around the product, the company? You're talking about the NSF certification. What does that actually mean? Why is that so reputable?
Well, it's third-party validation. It's a very reputable, because this is what a lot of pro athletes will base their product standards are, because they want to make sure that, if they're competing, that they're going to pee clean. And that's important, especially if they're putting years into that. But for the NSF, it's just, you can't fake that. You can't grow with a whole bunch of chemicals. And, those chemicals go into the soil, they get absorbed by the plant, they end up in every fiber of the plant. You can't have poor manufacturing of a product and still have an NSF quality product. So to me, it's third-party validation that our products are clean and they're safe. And there is there's not a big list of companies that can say that all their products are NSF certified. Can you put the omegas in the smoothie as well? Yes, you absolutely can. You just pop a hole in them. The omegas are amazing for a facial. Once a week, throw it on. Your skin can absorb nutrition. So using the capsules on skin and as well on, the omegas as a facial, we actually teach our clients to use the omega capsules on eczema and psoriasis topically, and the results are phenomenal. I had a little boy had a really bad second-degree burn, and we were putting omega on it, and within like a week and a half, it was pretty much just pink tissue.
Amazing. Love it. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Shani, I knew you would.
Yep. No to the product chemotherapy being good and bad, increasing immune system potentially. Okay, so the reason most oncologists will say no, and we can't argue, like, you got to remember, medical doctors, their education is medicine. So their information comes from big pharma. Like, what would happen if everyone understood that oatmeal will lower cholesterol faster than a statin? Right? We do it all the time, but there's no money in oatmeal. So I don't like to go conspiracy theorist. So oncologists just they're not educated in the nutrition field. So they're not led to believe that there really is any benefit, because it's better, that they don't, they're in the medicine field. So there was a concern years ago, like 50, 60 years ago, that antioxidants might reduce the effectiveness of some types of chemotherapy, because some types of chemotherapy work as free radicals. So they just they create enormous amounts of oxidative stress, and they're worried that if you take a lot of antioxidants, it's going to neutralize that oxidative stress. Actually, that has never been proven. There was an inconclusive study using synthetic antioxidants. But since then, that's kind of how the field feels about antioxidants. So what I say to clients, to not put them in a position, and I have oncologists who do allow Juice Plus. I have a letter that I've written that I send with my clients. What I just say to them is, my clients that are going through the process is, has your doctor told you to stop eating fruits and vegetables? Because one, that's outside their scope of practice. So if they did, they shouldn't have. They're actually not allowed to. And two, if you haven't been told to avoid fruits and vegetables, then we can use the Juice Plus, because it's literally just powdered fruits and vegetables. So I try not to put them in a position or argue it. And the same with medications. If someone's like, oh, can I take Juice Plus my medication? I'll be like, okay, has your doctor or pharmacist told you if there's any medications you need to avoid because of this medication? Or, are you supposed to not eat fruits and vegetables? And if the answer is no, then I'm like, I guess it's safe. And that's kind of been the position I've taken. Because there's no time during someone's life that they need more nutrition than during chemotherapy, because their entire body is being poisoned. And in order to promote healthy new tissue, we need to put the right stuff back in. And a lot of times, if they don't keep their nutrition high, their blood counts drop, and then their treatments get delayed. And if their treatments get delayed, we're now prolonging the healing process for them. So if we can keep their nutrition high during chemo, we can often get them through their treatments on schedule, and their recovery is so much better. Good?
Love it. Thank you.
Awesome.
Drinking coffee, tea in the morning dilute the absorption of Juice Plus.
So tea has tannic acid. Tannic acid does bind to minerals and can carry it out of the body. Coffee is acidic and can, so it is better to wait about 30 minutes before you have your coffee and tea. That being said, I've totally taken my capsules with coffee, so it's preferable not to, but you're still going to get benefit. Question. So a new client just had huge eczema breakout, which is why she reached out to me. She's on the fruit and veggie capsules a week, and they gave her some berries and omega. Doctor just told her to get krill oil. So when she asked the practitioner about JP omega, he says specifically, okay. So the nutrition and natural health field has, because we became a group of people that all promoted synthetic vitamins. So we mega dose with vitamins. We force vitamins, and you guys will probably get it with the Juice Plus. Well, how much vitamin C is in this? Or, oh, it doesn't have enough of this, and I need so much of this. We are leaving a era where we believe that quantity was better than quality. So the reason we come from that is because we used to have to mega dose vitamins to get any into the bloodstream, because the body doesn't recognize them outside of food. So we would mega dose them, and then we started to teach people, oh, well, we know that it takes this amount, 100 milligrams of this in order to see a change in the blood, right? So the same idea happened in the omega world, in the essential fatty acid world. We need this amount of EPA or DHA in order to make a difference, but it's more just based on measurement. We're now transitioning, and we're kind of leading the way with Juice Plus. It's not actually about quantity, it's about quality. The better quality that we can put into our body, we don't need to do mega dosing, because our body can make use of everything our body's putting in. And one of the things I talk about all the time is I don't get glow in the dark pee when I take Juice Plus. I do when I take a multivitamin, because I can absorb all of my Juice Plus. There's no toxicity to my Juice Plus. There's enormous amounts of toxicity to taking vitamins. So the essential fatty acid field kind of feels the same way. Blood thinners, fine with the omegas, because there's not fish oil. Fish oil you cannot take with blood thinners. Way too many capsules to take in a day. Tell them to dump it in a shake. If that's their only problem. Anything else, guys? I'm about to have 4 wild children walk in my door, so.
No worries. We really appreciate your time and your wisdom, and just being a force for so many people who are well-meaning and we want to make a difference, but stumble across these questions and then feel, like we don't have the answers or we're inferior, when maybe speak into that, what people have in their hands and the difference that they can make.
Well, I think the saying, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person, I think it's just recognizing sometimes that some people are not your people yet. The other thing you got to make use of is third-party tools. Like, I am using third-party tools myself, like the Healthy Living Revolution, those webinars. I have, if I'm talking to a nurse, I'm like, hey, I got a really great webinar from a nurse friend, can I send that to you? So don't try to position yourself as the expert. The biggest challenge, guys, I have in my business is I am a geek. and a lot of people feel that they can't do what I do because of who I am and my knowledge. You don't want to do that in your business. You want to be like, listen, I'm not 100%, but let me get back to you. And some of the best connections I've ever had has been when I know the answer, but I'm like, I'm going to look into that so I can get back to you. Like, find a reason to keep speaking into their lives and building trust and offering good information, because that's how you build a relationship. You don't have to be a book of knowledge. You just have to know where the resources are that you can put in front of them as you build that relationship.
Amazing. We are hugely grateful. Thank you for your time, and
Thank you so much.
chatting to your team real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.